All right, what's going on, Rizzo and Jeff? Another episode of FM Unfiltered. By the way, Jeff, before we start, a lot of people I ran into this week recognizing Pop and saying they missed the show.
Yeah, I don't blame them.
They're saying they miss it. They miss the fun. They miss the ha-has. They missed a lot.
Yeah, the ratings show that, and look, at the end of the day, when you have the same guests and you do the same stuff and you talk to the same people and twice a day you're on the same show, I guess eventually people get a little tired of it and they want to hear something fresh and new.
Yeah, and listen, this is what's difficult because I feel like I will say this, I feel like that we are close to a few things and I just wish we could delve in more in depth, but I do want to just maybe have a general discussion about where people see us in the show.
Yeah.
Because, I'm just going to throw this out there. I don't see us doing like a Christian talk show, right? Do you see us doing Christian talk?
Well, after these past couple of weeks, nothing would surprise me, honestly. But no, probably not. I think they would. We'd have to send them a demo,
right?
And then if they did a little investigation of the show. Once again, the Cosby stuff could take us down when it comes to any kind of Christian, network.
It's the Quaaludes, it's the Cosby, it's just the way we are, and
could
that's
be
fine.
The Whoopi Bush. That probably didn't help at all either, but anything's possible.
It adds, yeah. So, and again, what's up, everyone? Make sure you're sharing this video, please. It helps us out. We're slutting for stars, so if you want to slut away, send us some stars. That'd be great. But I wanted to kind of give you guys a little bit of inside information here. People are seeing Jeff and I in very different ways. We went to Dallas, we had this meeting, and some people see us as like rock and talk guys.
Right.
Right. Other people have been seeing us as country bumpkins.
See, I think.
How do you feel about this, Jeff?
I think what good programmers see that run radio stations is they see the talent.
Okay.
That's the smart way to go about things.
Okay.
And they don't place you in a box or put you in a corner.
Okay.
So they go, man, I got two guys.
Like Baby. Nobody puts Baby in a corner.
Nobody puts Baby in a corner.
Okay.
I have two guys that are really good at coming up with content. They're really good at social media. And anybody can learn some friggin' country artists, right? I could learn Luke Combs tomorrow. So it's that kind of thing. So I think that the good programmers want to put us on their best stations. So when the country convo has been coming up, I'm not opposed to it.
So, real quick before we get into, and for those of you, make sure you're sharing because we're going to be getting a little bit more in depth into maybe, the job situation than we have been. So this is important. I'm going to let the audience build. I see a lot of people checking in, which is great. Make sure you're sharing. I'm going to share. Jeff, you wanted to say something really quick, though. You said that it was important.
Well, I don't know if it's important.
You said it was.
I just said it to you. Rest in peace.
Okay.
To wrestling legend, the hardcore legend, Terry Funk.
Terry Funk. Who's Terry Funk?
Okay, if you want blood, guts, barbed wire, he wrestled in ECW, where we're from in Philadelphia. He's a legend in the business, and if you want somebody, basically he was a hardcore match guy, man, that everybody knew, and he just kept going and going into his 50s and 60s, and so.
Well, R.I.P. to Mr. Funk.
Yeah, R.I.P.
Look, a lot of people, like I said, I appreciate shares. I appreciate the people tuning in. I will say this. I've been surprised at the way people, because I'm looking at the next chapter of the Rizzo and Jeff show.
Right.
One of the, and this isn't going to make sense to a lot of people, but somebody who's very respected in radio actually hit me up today. There was an opening, and I said, would they be interested in maybe hiring a show as opposed to one person? It was in Chicago. And this person said, we're looking for one person, but I wouldn't hire either of you anyway unless you were a show because you guys are better together. And I was like, oh, shit, thank you. That was pretty cool to hear because all you hear is, when you're saying Zarbusto, people don't give a shit.
Yeah, and you also have to look at the conditions under which people leave. Sometimes, and I get homesick. I think they were from Phoenix and they brought them out there, so that's a big disparity in life.
Yeah,
coming from Phoenix and then to Chicago and everything. But it was a Chicago summer too, so geez, I mean, how bad could it be? But I guess it was just time to go. It's expensive to live there, and if it's not paying, hand to mouth ain't fun anymore. The smart ones go, forget it, you can have it.
So that brings us to this discussion, and again, we can solicit, and we'll I guess, we'll slut ourselves out. You want to know info, you can star us. I appreciate it. I see people saying some stuff. Where do we see this show going? I was really happy when Jeff and I finally made it to, this talk format, right, Jeff? This is where we could just kind of talk about Whoopi's poo nanner. I liked talking Whoopi nanners.
Well, look, I think there was a little more design behind it. Sometimes we allowed the audience to take us in a direction that, went in certain places.
Yeah.
But the preparation and everything for the show was there. Yeah, we were having a blast doing it.
But did you think that this was kind of where we were going to stay? And what I mean by stay is, like, this is kind of the format in which we were going to stay. What's going on, Steve? What's going on, Daddy Jeff? Did you think this is where we were going to stay as far as format-wise or station-wise?
Well, I felt that if we were here a couple of more years,
okay,
that, after everything had gone down with certain employees, I thought that the natural transition was kind of that. Now, that could have just been me thinking it, and not corporate. Well, obviously not.
Well, obviously itself. Not corporate, right?
But for me, I was kind of thinking that way, and yeah, sure. I mean, there was nothing wrong with Rochester. I mean, it was a tough nut to crack. I think we were making inroads, and it just didn't work itself out.
I will say this though. When we went to Dallas, I will say we went to meet with a high-level executive of a specific broadcast company. I also did get to give my little heave-ho to one of the iHeart big guys.
Yeah, the iHeart big guy.
The iHeart big guy.
There's nobody bigger. It's him.
That's him.
Yeah.
So that was fun. But I guess I just am amazed. Like, some people think we would be great, Christian rock. Somebody say, I think you guys would kill it in Christian rock.
Okay. Were they down on the corner here where the gunshots rang out?
Well, it's they might have been buying the dope from the people that are shooting the guns out here. But I have to tell you, Jeff, it's amazing. And I'd like for the people that are watching and, as I share this, where do you think we belong? Because, again, I've heard I hated them at first, but then they got better and better and made the ride home fun. Listen, I saw a woman with baby hands say that the other day. I saw a person in Costco say, "How's Jeff? I miss you guys." Like, shit was going crazy.
Well, the problem is this business doesn't give you much time anymore to do anything. So, unless we were number one in the first 2-3 months,
right?
And stayed that consistently, and this is a tough market to do that in.
Especially the way that you guys are.
Yeah, and the ratings here, every couple of months are all over the place. One day it'll be Wheeze, and then Wheeze will be in 9th, and then that's the next month, and then it'll be back in 3rd, and then.
And you can't really gauge that,
right? And then out of nowhere, here comes the hip hop station, that dominates that you can't hear very far. So a very, very bizarre place to stay consistent.
But you try. But what it is it's about things like generating revenue and generating public excitement and shit like that. And I thought we did that. I mean, that this lady literally said to me, maybe it said what I loved about you and Jeff is that you guys would go places. She meant, the Nicosia, shit like that. And so it's like, I thought that we would stay in this kind of format and shit forever, and I guess we're probably not.
Well, we didn't do that to shock jock anything. That's just
no,
stuff.
I hate that shit when people say that.
That's just stuff that we like to do.
Right.
Here's the deal. People are talking about the Nicosias.
Yeah.
I'll never forget the driving down East Ave.
Do you remember that?
And we were looking at their house, and then boom, we saw there was a press conference. Boom, we asked somebody at Wham.
Yeah.
They said this is where it's at, and boom, we were there in 2 seconds.
And
at the basin, or what is it called? Whatever basin.
Yeah, and that fat ass guy.
He was a fat bastard.
Wasn't he a fat bastard?
Yeah.
Somebody said, would I go to Canada to do radio?
No,
unless it was a.
Here's the problem.
What's the big friggin' city in Canada again? What's that called?
Toronto.
Toronto, yeah. Okay. Would you go to Toronto?
Let me tell you. Do you know that the guy that ran the country station in Detroit, who was originally from Toronto for Cumulus, now is back running all of the Canadian radio stations for Bell Media.
Oh, is that him?
Yeah.
Really?
The one that our buddy at Cumulus was bragging about.
Really?
Yeah, but he's back, but he's staying based in the United States, and he's going to run all the Canada stations.
Really?
But here's the problem with Canada, is that it takes a year to get a work visa.
What if you went to the Border Patrol and pulled out your cock?
Well, we could just go in and just be like a Rochester asylum seeker at the Holiday Inn.
I was going to say, why don't we seek asylum in Canada from Rochester? Why don't we say we live in Rochester?
No, you know what they'll say?
Could we have some fucking asylum?
They'll lift the thing will go up and they'll say, "Come on in."
It's like, we're sorry.
You live in Rochester? Where exactly in Rochester?
Oh, Clinton Avenue?
Right off of Clinton Avenue.
Come in, friend.
My guys. Yeah.
Come in,
Hey, come on in.
Hey, what do you
They'll
say?
pet us.
You know what? I want to shout out to, and this just as a testament, there's Stephen McHugh, Heather Friend. These are some people from Michigan who followed us. I mean, yeah, guess what? I'll tell you this. It's because when we had a show in Michigan, we were on what's called a Top 40. Here we were doing a Hot Talk. It's where it was talk. I think our journey might lead us down Cowpoke Way.
Yeah.
I got to be honest with you. I think that's where we're headed, people.
I know, but I keep telling you that you got to get the cowboy hat thing out of your head.
Why? It's the reality of it, Jeff.
Dude, if you have ever been, and I've been, like in Philadelphia, think about this, to like a country concert.
Okay.
There's the girls wearing the cowboy hats are doing it to be sexy, but it's like there's nobody rolling up in cowboy boots. It's like regular people that go to the shows. That's what I'm trying to get you to understand.
So you're telling me, because this is what I'm worried about, the boots, the spurs, the shit like that.
If you went to a Paramore show,
okay,
it's the same girls at the Paramore show that show up to the Kane Brown show. You know what I mean? So that's what you got to get.
So for those of you just tuning in, and again, make sure that you're sharing, and we'll get to as many comments as you can. Just wanted to do a quick check-in because, I feel like you guys have followed us and you've earned it. We might be on our way to being country bumpkins. Don't know. Anything that happened could be rock, but it's just the way people see us is so bizarre, Jeff.
What, you don't think that we drink beer? You don't think that we watch a little football? I mean, what don't we do that's not country? We eat meat, okay? Yours a little more cooked than others. I mean, what don't we do that isn't country? What
you know what it is? It's
smoke cigarettes.
You know what?
Maybe one every 3 days now.
Yeah,
but we still do it. So it is. You know
what it is? It's
tattoos.
It's okay, but you know what? When I think country, I think Ariba. I think Ariba McIntyre. Okay. I think of Waylon. I think of Waylon Jennings
in the 60s.
Okay, I think of Conway Twitty. Mm-hmm. Like that's who I think of.
Yeah. Okay. Well, half of them are dead. The ones that you think of, and we don't do the deads on this show.
No, and see that's the other thing. I mean, I don't know if your dislike for the dead,
right,
if we're doing country music, is going to play well with the audience.
Yeah, but this particular situation is the newer stuff.
Well, as a matter of fact, it's not just this particular situation. When we went to boot camp,
the other one is too.
The other one is too. They met with us and they said, "What do you?" There are two potential situations, and both of them, they said, "Country. How do you feel about country?" And then the other people are like, "Rock, rock, rock." So it's like it's amazing to me, and it's just been we're getting to that point where it's decision time and shit's going to start happening, and to me, it's just like I can't even fathom it.
Yeah,
I don't know. Well, maybe it's just me. Maybe I don't know.
Look,
maybe I've told Peyton once too many times.
What you'll wind up doing,
right,
while you're in there doing the show,
right,
is the same thing that you did while you were sitting up in Traverse City, where you couldn't stand a minute of Ed Sheeran. You turned it down, and you recorded calls, you did all the things you needed to do, whatever you had to do during breaks. And then you just come back in and you just say this is, and then you get into your content.
But let me ask you, what I liked about Radio 95.1 and here in Rochester is say what you want. The Rizzo and Jeff show is, remember, people come up to me in Wegmans, people ask about Jeff in 4.5, 5 months after the fact, is this radio station now is tanking.
Yeah.
I
think that the hope is the save of the Bills season and Bills talk.
No.
And I think that there's
No.
other outlets for that. So.
And these have all been men and women that you would look and say hate us. Totally not.
Right.
Like men and women that they would say that they're already 50, 60 years old.
Right.
And I just loved, and call me crazy, I loved Peen Chat. I loved Cosby. I loved Reginald Bell Johnson. I loved.
It's not that you loved Peen Chat. You would trickle into it, and then I have to remind you. Here goes, and then people would text in. Here goes the Dong Chat again. So,
right.
You almost made it a whole show without Dong Chat.
But I mean, even like the titties. Like the tidbits, it was fun. It was just, I liked being able to say and do whatever the hell that I wanted to.
I still stand by the fact that the titties were the thing that took us down.
It's interesting you say, and again, we'll get into that in a second, Tracy. And for those of you who are just tuning in, Mike, and a couple Mikes, some Robert, stuff like that, please share the video. We're trying to get as many views and stuff as we can. What's up? Our Italian friend Rob just tuned in. Why do you believe the titties took us down? Because I have a theory as to why we were let go. Well, what was it about the titties?
The big boss hated it. You tried to keep it going.
I appreciate the stars, Mike.
You were going to stand your ground.
I stand ground.
You were going to stand your ground.
Yeah.
Then you tried to find a way to appease the boss while still doing the titties. So I think that when decision time came down from corporate,
right,
and they asked him, what do you want to do here?
Fire the old man?
You think it's time for Weeze to go, or Rizzo and Jeff? And I think that he just at that minute in time had the radio on in the background, and the titties came on, and he said, "Rich and Jeff."
Really?
Yeah.
Because I'm going to tell you,
Richard and Jeffrey, I think he said that so they knew.
This has been
what to send to each other.
This has been no secret. I think that look, our old boss hated the fact that I sang on the air. I'm a musical man. I sing. I'm jovial.
See, now here's the thing. That might go over in country.
Really?
Possibly. It's
singing Ellie Goulding or just singing in general?
Just singing in general. I think there's possibility it goes over because, you got moms in the minivan that would find it quite humorous,
Well, I was listening to some of our stuff from Traverse City, and it was interesting because, thinking about the potential of us maybe being country guys or moving formats has me scared, but I was listening to the Mishmash, which for those of you who don't know what that is, that was a really hokey, awful radio game.
Let's keep that in northern Michigan.
And the people from northern Michigan watch this know what that is. It's where you take a word like God, G-O-D, and you say O-D-G. What's the word? It's all mishmashed and
scramble it up,
right,
and then listeners have to try to figure out what the word is for a prize. And the prize was usually Jimmy John's
$10 or free sub, or Piper's Pizza,
or something horrendous like that.
And so I would sing it, and I had fun. Somebody says, "Is Jeremy Newman back on the air?" I have no goddamn idea. I think so.
Is Jeremy Newman off the air?
Is he off? I don't think he's off. I seem like I'm into show tunes. You're damn right. I love show tunes. I've been a show tune guy. Keep singing. I like it. See, that's the thing. So. We did this mishmash, and Baby Hands was like, I can't hear you guys on a music station. So I played her some of the old Rat and Puff Show stuff for her to hear you. And I played her some of the Rizzo and Jeff Show. And I played her the Little Richard mishmash.
That was the final day.
That was the day.
Does she know that?
She does not.
Okay.
I did not tell her we were fired.
After that.
About 20 minutes after I did that.
Yeah.
For those of you...
And imagine the people that are firing us are driving in, and they heard that, and they were so happy to let us go. Probably. Yeah,
they were thrilled. It was. I'll tell you what, though. Say what you want.
We were number one, but far and away there.
Number one. Let me tell you something. And I actually sent this to somebody recently to show like the ratings. We had and this is hard to explain, but basically, okay, if there were 100 cars, right, and there were 10 radio stations, 6.5 had our show on. Of every male, female, white, black, gay, straight, young, old, doesn't matter. That's how big that show was.
And by the way, Baby Hands, that's all true. And 20 minutes after all that went down, it was over.
Yeah, that was the day
That was when the woman who was about an hour away at corporate headquarters came prowling in. She never comes in. So she showed up, came in, and we could tell that they were disconnecting.
Your email was disabled.
I said to you, check your email. Is your email disabled? Mine went first, and then you checked yours. Yeah. Yours was out. The girl co-host on the show, we said, is your email up? She goes, yeah, mine's fine. We said, all right.
Getting fired. Yeah, I remember that. And they used COVID. Well, no, I guess it was a COVID thing because they didn't have the money, but we got
that's
$1,600 a week. That was some good times.
Yeah, that's all it was. It was just you get into those real small cities, which we really enjoyed, but they just didn't have the money. We were the highest paid employees there, so we go first.
We were the highest paid employees in the entire company. Yeah, and I will say this: you get what you pay for. We are we're not the cheapest show in the world, but you do get results. Steve, and radio here has sucked since. There you go. You told Rizzo you didn't want to get yelled at.
I did.
Oh, yes.
But he didn't finish the story.
What do you mean I didn't finish the story?
To her.
No, because
20 minutes after that.
You know why? Because if you say, she's the kind of person where if you say something to her, she needs to know the who, what, when, where, why, and how. Okay. And I just didn't feel like saying this was the day that we got let go because of the pandemic, and Jeff got really pissed off because he didn't want me to Mission Mash. You got annoyed when I Mission Mash.
Well, financially, that company crumbled. They took out 4. Loans and things of that nature.
Yeah, it was bad.
They were just in bad shape.
They did. They took 4 PPP loans.
Yep.
And when and Jeff comes in and he makes more than everyone on the staff except me at the time. And
so they had all been there for like
20 years.
20 years. So they were all kind of pissed.
Yeah, but you get what you pay for.
Yeah.
We were better. Tracy, I remember when you guys weren't on the next day, and Rover said that iHeart cut a bunch of talent. Yeah, you know what? That was the truth. Mm-hmm. He totally left out. It didn't. I wasn't fired for that. Listen, I don't care what you say.
That wasn't it.
I stand by the mishmash, much like I stand by the titties. Now, there was a good question asked earlier. I think it was by I forget. It was either Mike or Steve or something. They said if there's one bit or thing that you guys did that you could take back here in Rochester. Is there anything that we did that you would take back? Because I got to be honest with you, as we start to go towards our future.
That's a lot to think about. Take back.
Like, is there anything? You know what? Okay, I will say this. It wasn't a bit. It was a mistake. The Jim Boeheim thing really pissed him off. Here's the thing about Syracuse.
We were right there.
Yeah. We fucked up Syracuse. Actually, no, that was Phil. That was Phil. That wasn't us. What was the guy's name? Wild Hack?
Yeah.
Jeff or Jim or something?
Yeah. They told us the wrong name. I was thinking, in my head, the first thing that came to mind, only because it pissed people off when we first got here.
Yeah.
And I think it just, not that it pissed off the audience, but it pissed off sales, is when I was taking shots at, what's-his-face, Lesbian Seagull.
Dink, Engelbert Humperdinck. You know why?
Humperdinck.
Because the
casino went bananas. What was the casino there?
The
one on the highway.
Del Lago.
Del Lago. Yes.
Del Lago lost their mind, and let me tell you something, Wilmot family. I can make fun of the Dink.
Yeah.
All right, Engelbert friggin' Humperdinck. Yeah. Laugh a little for Christ's sake.
Right. So they friggin' lost it. So they were contacted the radio station. They were all pissed off.
Oh, bad. It was bad.
So we said, screw you. At the end of the day, fine. We won't make fun of
Engelbert Humperdinck.
And we'll link up a relationship with Batavia Downs. Thank you.
You know what? So you're right. I'll say this. I'll add to that in a minute. I don't regret borrowing the van or stealing the van at all. Don't regret that. The titties, you say. I don't regret the titties. Yes, you thought you were on the wrong station. I will add that I don't regret the Dink. The one thing I regret is letting the people that were mean, I hate you, racial slurs, gay slurs, whatever, all that stuff. I let that get to me to a point where I would read and respond.
Right, yes.
So maybe that, but also making fun of the elderly, even though that's what I do. I make fun of the olds all the time. It wasn't personal.
Oh, no,
Yeah.
the deads and everything else. No. Responding to all those people. See, but you got to understand, I think responding to those people, maybe not to the obsessive nature that you did it,
Right.
but I think responding to some of those people,
Well, there's
other people saw it. And it was like, look, we're gonna
Right.
fight you back,
Right.
and we're gonna win everybody over.
And we did.
Yeah.
And by the way, our TSL, which is time spent listening, was #1, which means the average person listened to the Rizzo and Jeff show 2 hours and 19 minutes. And you know who listened to us for 2 hours and 19 minutes? People who hated us.
Right.
There's this woman whose son has Down syndrome, and I feel awful. The Rizzo lady, and she's such an online bully and has been so mean, and you would think somebody who's probably seen and been a victim of bullying wouldn't be that way, but I regret that, and I also, that was an interesting one. Somebody said Mr. Ed. Do you regret Mr. Ed? I don't regret Mr. Ed at all.
No, that was great. Mr. Ed
wasn't he
was
great?
Yeah. He was great. He was spectacular. He would call, and he would try to, it was a game of who could get who when he called. And usually he lost.
He did lose.
Yeah.
He got us a couple times, and we had a rough Monday or so. They should have gotten rid of Tools and kept you guys.
No.
Now, listen, I will say this. I'm not going to advocate for the losing of any job. John has been really nice to us, and I hope he's there forever.
Yeah.
I think there was room for all of us.
Yeah.
But, I think that maybe his supporting staff, I don't know. I would love to have done like a Rizzo, Jeff, and Tools kind of thing. Like, that would have been fun.
I think when we all were coming in together, I think we were having a blast and stuff. And
yeah, we did.
It's not like we weren't knowledgeable about sports or anything of that nature. I thought we were having a real good time, and I think he agreed. And I think we kind of we saw things even with management on we were eye to eye with that.
And listen, we are not hard. I know we're kind of weird, but we get along with management. We get along with our coworkers. We don't cause problems. We don't do bullshit that's on purpose. We might get in trouble, but it's by accident.
I wish whatever we did to bother sales to the point where they didn't want to sell us, whatever that was, I wish that was something that we could have fixed, because those two things go hand in hand.
You know what? I'll say this. Somebody says you even got Dale. You even got to sniff Dale and got him to come out of his shell and become High Dale. That was us. And people still refer to him as High Dale, and I love that. I just smoked weed and listened to you guys. I would like to add something to what Jeff said. You're right. Whatever we did to piss off sales. Now, I will say this, and I don't use names, but they know who they are, and I'm sure they'll see this. There was a person who, I guess, was on a show previous to us that
worked in the sales department. That person, has never made more than $20,000 a year doing radio. Has always been part-time, never really made it. Well, it is what it is.
It is what it is.
Yeah, right.
And so I think that person think that we took their job, and that was never our intention. No. So much so that there was an endorsement sold, and we weren't even told about it.
Yeah, we literally, this person sold us on an endorsement, didn't tell us about it, didn't do anything, and one day we look in our account and there's a payment from a place here in Rochester.
I think it was like a game store.
Yeah, Nerdvana. And then you look at the who the account executive was.
Right.
And it was him, and you're like, dude, if you want to sell us on something, that would have been something awesome that we could have did at Nerdvana on a weekly basis.
What does Bill Moran call him? The thumb? I'll call him the thumb.
Okay, the thumb.
Okay. So I think it started with that person who, and again, they weasel their way back in because they make $4 an hour.
Right. I'll come make 12. Right. I'll do it for $13 an hour.
Right.
Just to be on.
Just to be on, and whatever. That's fine. But I think that was it. But I also think there was a generational gap. So that particular person was never going to sell us, and I think we accepted that, right? Early on.
110%.
We were in the elevator with this person twice in our lives. On my Gams life. Didn't say a word. So much so that I went and told the president of iHeart.
Yep.
So much. Jeff, you get on an elevator. Not a word.
How awkward. That's your coworker. Supposedly. So.
Right. I think there's that, but I do think there was a generational thing. I think that there, on the other end, I think that much like Rochester, I don't think that certain people understood what we were doing.
Well, right. There were other, salespeople there
Right.
that were a little
Right.
bit older in their 60s.
Right.
And, and you're trying to explain, they're trying to get it. And it's hard for Rochester people that are that old
Right.
to break out of their comfort zone because
Right.
people that old remember the heyday.
Right.
And live in
At
yesteryear.
the War Memorial.
The friggin' War Memorial. And
Right.
live in yesteryear.
Right.
And maybe they need to just come downtown here a little bit. Maybe rent an apartment where we're at for a year, and then kind of see what the real Rochester is now. You'll really get over your old man stories.
But what's interesting is that, and then you win the Influencer of the Year
Right.
thing. And I know that sounds dumb, but that's a big deal. And that should be easy for somebody to say, hey, nationwide, these guys are the best at what they do. I have physical friggin' data. And I think it was the generational thing on one side. I think it was the other kid who just thinks he is Howard Stern and just can't find a full-time job ever. And then I think it was when that one girl left. Because she, I think, would have been
the younger, good-looking sales girl.
Kristen.
Yeah.
Kristen. She was great.
She was great. She had big accounts. That was like Bill Gray's and all kinds of stuff.
She did. Yeah. And you know what? She, as well as there was a few other ones, Joy and a few other ones that were great. And I think all the female, salespeople got with it and understood and really liked us.
Right.
As well as the female sales bosses. I think it was the males. Did you feel that? Was it the males to you?
That were bothered by us?
That were bothered by the show. And no, Tracy, I'm not getting into a Bill Moran conversation.
No, please,
we're not doing it. No. Go ahead, Jeff.
I don't know. It's hard to figure out and pinpoint who really had the problem there. I think it was more of different people said things to your face, and I think it was a collective effort at the end of the day. I kind of feel that. I mean, I could be wrong. Yeah.
As far as generational gaps in radio, adjust, adapt, or die. I just can't stand when people are stuck in the past. Well, see, that's a thing. And again,
is that Big Tommy Jordan, the big B101 man now?
But here's the thing, Tommy. That's a perfect example. That's we went to boot camp, morning show. People were like, "Oh my God, I love what you guys do. This is, you're on Facebook, you're on this. We make money off of these videos. We're actually going to be. We have a sponsor that we're going to be joining with next week. That's a big sponsor of ours, Person-Centered Housing Options, and that's because we're doing this shit. But you have a person who was part-time at another station, and him and his real estate buddy are so pissed off that they can never find a full-time job that they don't want to sell you. Or like you said, Jeff, there's this generational gap, and it's like, well, if we don't sell, what do they call them? What's it? Not spots, a spot schedule.
Right.
We don't sell a spot schedule, which is commercials, for those of you who don't know. Then what's this Facebook?
Well,
this is a fad, this Facebook, this Instagram.
Well, we wonder why we can't make budget every month.
Right.
And we're to the last week where we got a race to make budget. It's because you have salespeople that refuse to adapt to the fact that there's literally radio companies out there where half of their revenue is digital.
Town Square Media, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, so half of it is digital, and that's where everything is heading. And if you're smart enough to sell it, then you're good to go.
I love how much you guys love your fans. Go out into the public, talk to them, take pictures, meet them, get to know them. You met my autistic son on his birthday, Great Wolf Lodge. That's Heather. It was cool. Yeah. You took pictures of them. Yeah, that's the kind of shit that we do.
Yeah.
But again,
God, I miss Great Wolf Lodge.
I miss what I did like about, and I will say this. Yeah, it was a fun, nice place. And again, Rochester, I really, really was really hopeful. And that's kind of...
Well, that's why I think...
Because again, you got this kid who plays radio and they don't sell you. It's just, we had such a weird sales dynamic is what I guess I think it comes down to.
Well, I think for our personality, I think you're going to find that who we're going to be speaking with coming up shortly, I think in that format and the country format, I think you're going to find that it more fits personality of what we kind of do.
Well,
and who we are.
Yeah, I send birthday messages to people's kids. Like, we love giving back. We love doing stuff like that. It's not all about us. It really isn't. I mean, if you're on the radio to prop up your own ego, then you're going to fail. And I learned that long ago. I'll give you a perfect example. I worked on a show called Scott and Todd. Scott did it because he was good and he loved the business and he loved to make other people shine. Todd did it because he wanted to shine. Scott Shannon is a legend. Todd has not been seen from and took down an entire radio station, and that's the difference. If you're doing radio because of your own ego, you're going to fail.
Yeah, and Mikey Champion, that's Todd Pettengill, by the way.
Oh,
yeah, you got it.
I actually did a show with me and him. Do not get along. Lighters up for Pettengill. No way. As this all circles back, it's interesting how people view you. And I think the Rizzo and Jeff show, I think we're going to kind of know a little bit more by the end of the week.
Yeah.
And it's interesting that some people hear us as a rock show, some people hear us as a talk show, but then again, other people say you're a country show. And then again, some people are just so obsessed with Rochester that they would rather never leave, and I don't know.
I got news for you. If I repetitively made $22,000 a year,
right,
over and over and over again
at multiple stations,
and just stop, and each one that I was at was a complete failure. And I'm taking down another one. It seems to be
another show.
Notice numbers has gone down since this person's involved. Ain't that something? So, look, it's, if this is what you want, and you want the maiming and murdering and things of that nature, and you don't want to get better, you need people that are constantly looking to get better and want to move up and do things, not people that want to stay stagnant. And
we don't. No. We're out. I mean, it's dangerous. We go out where these shootings are happening, where all that shit's going on, because it's like, hey, wait a minute, like, this is...
The only other entertaining person that does that kind of stuff is Bob Lonsberry.
I love Bob
He broadcasted his show yesterday from over there.
Yep.
Where the shots happen.
Yeah, and you know what? And that's the thing. So he'll go out and do that. We'll go out and do that. Yeah. Everyone. And again, it's a shame because there was such a cool thing. But I do think that we are going to be moving away from this format that we're in. And I hope that where we go next, I hope that sales, and I do, because the person that we're talking to has followed our digital stuff. And when we would go to these, when we went to this convention and had these meetings, people were like, your digital stuff is what makes you special. Instead of, trying to bastardize it in a weird way.
Mikey Champion. Some people won't even leave their house to do a show.
That's true. You know what? And I'll tell you what, some people will call and try to advertise, and they will literally be pushed off to another show, and we have a copy of that email, too.
Sorry, I can't. That's hard to live that hermit life.
Here's the thing. And that's okay if you are, I'll say this, if you're 80 and you got a mic set, I mean, but there's something about being in a studio, right? Is it just me?
Yeah, but if you're going on,
right?
if you're closer to 80 than you are to 70,
right?
Then let me sit my butt at home.
Yes.
I'm fine.
Right. And I just think that, the Rizzo and Jeff show will be fine. I think we'll thrive. I think that, it's interesting and this whole thing was about how people view you. And I think people viewed us, they didn't get what we were doing. Then then you got us, then we took off like a rocket, then we were cut off at the knees, but everything happens for a reason. But to hear the past couple weeks, multiple times from multiple executives, do you guys think you could do country, has been kind of stunning to me.
Yeah. But like I said, you need to get yourself out of the radio head space of country and just, kind of think of it as if you could just think of it as top 40, you'll be fine.
Yeah. But see, I don't know. I'm going to do my best. Because you know what I will do? The first thing I'm going to want to do is to talk about, like who loves your kids and never stops, whoever has in the heart of a fighter.
But that's funny on a talk station.
Right?
And they might get the Reba joke, if they might.
I mean, what is it? A single mom who works too hard, who loves her kids and never
works
stops.
2 jobs.
A single mom who works 2 jobs.
Who loves her kid and never stops. Yeah.
with the gentle hands and the heart of a fighter, I'm a survivor. Yeah, okay. All right, yeah, so there you go.
The Reba theme song for anybody that doesn't know.
Well, you know what? You're going to know. Newman from 2 to 7. Hey, listen, Newman away. Newman is he's a nice guy. He's always been nice to us. You know, what I will say is, you know, just support our friends. Like I said, John's a friend. You know, Dale's a friend. Bobby Lonsberry, biggest balls I have ever seen. Figuratively and literally. I'm sure he's got a big set of coyones.
You know what it is? He's approachable. And you just look at him, and he's soft spoken.
Yeah.
So he doesn't come across as a threat, you know.
But he'll cut your throat.
I know.
He's got 6 guns.
It's like a CIA agent. I know.
It's unbelievable. So you know, we just wanted to update you. I think that Jeff and I will be, we'll be slutting this. Is there any ideas that you guys have for us as we slut around? Because again, you know, we couldn't get the salespeople to get us out, so we're slutting ourselves.
Yeah.
But do you have any slut ideas for us to go?
How many stars for a Lons jog along? Oh God, no, I couldn't do that.
How many stars? A Lonsberry
Dude, he
jog
does like
along?
7 miles.
And the other thing is, he goes into the hood. We live in the hood. I'm tired of the guns. I'm tired of getting shot at. I do not let baby hands leave the house unattended. Right. I know that sounds controlling and sociopathic, but I'm serious. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know. People love the pier. What if we went and we did the merry-go-round shit? Like, people want us on that merry-go-round.
Yeah. Well, look, don't zero in on Ontario Beach.
I mean, what if I don't know. What if we did we offered to lather people up on the beach? Like, I took lotion.
Do you see the people that go to that beach? Think again.
You know what? I don't really go.
Okay.
Are you saying this?
I'm just saying it would probably be a bad idea.
Okay. Well, hopefully we'll have some good news soon. I just wanted to throw it out there that people are seeing us in different ways, and I got to tell you, how are you feeling? Okay, if you were to, without giving anything away, if you were to say, when will the Rizzo and Jeff show air on the radio again? Forget the location. When would you say that would be?
March or April.
March.
Okay.
I sure should.
All right.
All right, guys. Well, baby, if you can hear us, you come on out here and hit the end of this video as we say goodbye. You can get this on our Patreon. You could also get the bridge version on the iHeartRadio app and everywhere you get your podcasts. And remember, there was one more thing I wanted to say. Oh, yeah. You have slutty ideas.